outrun justice.
The Justice League fights a group of giant mecha in the city, and they are schooled. Thankfully, Superman opens through one of the bot's dense metals, giving Batman a chance to throw his Batarang and destroy the robot's reactor. Unfortunately, the giant mecha loses control and falls towards the fallen members of the Justice League, but Flash shows up and creates an air vortex to stop it from crushing them. The bot eventually explodes, and the impact carves out a lot of buildings. Superman and Batman stare at the incident, but cannot find the other members of the Justice League. Elsewhere, the other members get up after some minutes like the early morning would, and after confirming they are okay, Martian Manhunter tries contacting Superman, but his brain nearly fries. So Green Lantern flies in his stead to look for them. When he arrives at the city, Flash meets up with him, and they see that the place looks different, more like a scene from the past, so they wonder what's wrong. Green Lantern checks a nearby newspaper's date and sees that they are in a different city called Seaboard. Somewhere not too far off, a crime happens at a music center, and the villain, Music Master, tries to get away, but Green Lantern shows up and rains on his parade.
Not so fast.
To his surprise, Music Master calls him by a different name, Green Guardsman. He fires an attack from his accordion, and it knocks Green Lantern away. As the Music Master tries to make a getaway, Green Lantern grabs hold of the violin he had stolen earlier. As he and Flash try to process what had just happened and why Green Lantern was called by a different name, a man who looks like Superman shows up and whacks Flash in the face, thinking he's a villain.
Hey, you got the wrong...
Lantern tries to explain he's making a mistake, and he grabs his device, making him powerless. All of a sudden, Catman arrives on his motorcycle alongside Black Siren. They fight Green Lantern, and just then, the other members of the Justice League arrive. Green Guardsman also shows up, and his gang fights with the Justice League, taking them for villains. Hawkgirl tries to take Green Guardsman out, but he traps her in a cage. Barry then runs to help her, but Streak, another speedster, catches up and knocks him out. The Lanterns face each other while the Justice League also fights with the superhero. In the process, Martian Manhunter is knocked into a building, and the debris nearly crushes a boy called Ray, who watches the fight. Thankfully, Barry arrives just in time to save the day. Having witnessed the commendable act, Streak quickly stops Hawkgirl from clashing with Tom Turbine. He then tells them they all need to talk like normal civilians. They take them to their base, and the Justice League learn about the other group of superheroes known as the Justice Guild. There, the guild members introduce themselves, and the League members do the same. Martian Manhunter suddenly gets dizzy, and he finds it strange. Black Siren and Hawkgirl get along, with the former disregarding Green Lantern's warning. Green Lantern then tells Barry that the guild members are strange because he remembers reading their comics when he was still a kid. Barry listens to him, then tries to riz Black Siren, but she threatens to pummel his sausage. Meanwhile, Music Master meets with other villains and tells them of the Justice Guild ripoffs he had seen in the city. They nearly get into a squabble, but one of them makes a wager, offering to commit heinous crimes and see if they can make the new set of heroes disappear forever. Back at the guild house, Tom Turbine tells the League members that there's a possibility they slipped into their dimension after Barry absorbed the explosion in the fight against the mecha he told them about. He then tells them he's been working on a prototype of a trans-dimensional gateway, but he hasn't been able to harness the energy source to power it. The League members whose hopes went up earlier after learning there's a way to get them home look depressed, seeing that the work hasn't been completed yet. They get back indoors, and Black Siren offers to make them coffee and dessert. Suddenly, they get an unannounced visit from Sergeant O'Shaughnessy, who shows them a letter they received at the precinct and hands it over to them. Streak reads it, and they learn it's from the villains who plan to wreak a lot of havoc using the 4 elements. As they wonder why the enemy would tip the authorities, the Justice Guild asks the Justice League to team up with them and fight crimes. The League members accept, and they are given a ring to showcase their alliance. They split themselves into groups while Tom Turbine stays behind to figure out how to get the interdimensional portal working.
Ladies first.
Streak and Green Lantern arrive at the museum, and they see one of the villains trying to get away after stealing jewelry. He immediately attacks them. Hawkgirl, who is with Man-Shield, tries to smash up a plane being flown by another villain, but S.H.I.E.L.D. stops her and tells her the aircraft is too important, so they should use their wits. Meanwhile, the mayor opens up a new fountain, but Blizzard attacks it and completely freezes it. The Flash shows up with Black Siren and completely knocks Blizzard over. Blizzard then hurls icicles at them, and they try to fight their way through. Streak and Green Lantern, on the other hand, dodge the magician's zaps, but they fight back and pressure him till he enters a phone booth and makes an escape. Hawkgirl and S.H.I.E.L.D. struggle against the plane. She finds it hard to fight without smashing things, and in the process, some construction workers get knocked out and almost fall to their doom. Left with no other choice, she leaves the villain and saves them. Meanwhile, another one steals a vehicle from a fisherman and drives off, but Catman and Ray go after him. Martian Manhunter accompanies them, and they try to stop the driver, but he throws an explosive at them, which throws Catman to the front of the vehicle. There, he latches onto the thing like his life depends on it. Elsewhere, the Flash easily disarms Blizzard, but just when he thinks things are in order, an empty truck charges towards a bus with nuns, so he dashes into it and swerves it away. Unfortunately, the vehicle has no brakes, so he jumps out just as it explodes on impact. In that moment, Blizzard wears his device, and he freezes Flash and Black Siren, who rush over to save him. Back in the moving truck, Martian Manhunter saves Catman from being turned into roadkill. He takes him to his bike, but unfortunately, he gets a migraine and sees an apocalypse in one of his trances. Catman quickly pulls over and rushes to check on him. Hawkgirl, on the other hand, fails to catch her foe. When she wakes up, she sees a tombstone with Green Guardsman's name on it. Refusing to believe Hawkgirl's claims to have seen Green Guardsman's tombstone, Green Lantern leaves to check for himself. Hawkgirl follows en route, but not before instructing Martian Manhunter to wait for Barry's arrival under the cave. While Sportsman yaps about leading the next mission, Music Master and Mr. Magician devise a master plan. Blizzard glides into the cave and shows off his captives to his friends. Just as Martian Manhunter reports his failure to find their captured friends, the city police ring the headquarters to report a robbery at the city mint, and off they go to save the city. On the other hand, Hawkgirl arrives at the cemetery. And just as Green Lantern accepts the bitter reality, Hawkgirl wonders who the impersonators in the guild are if the real heroes are dead. To get answers to the obvious question, Green Lantern and Hawkgirl pop into the air to find the city library, but on their way to the library, they come across a familiar ice cream man. Green Lantern stops the ice cream dude in his tracks to ask him about the grave on the hill. Disguising his shock with a smile, the ice cream dude lies that he needs to finish his route and attend to customers, but Green Lantern, who is clearly not buying his BS excuse, accuses the ice cream dude of never stopping for customers. To cover his tracks, the ice cream dude tries to lie again that business has been going slow recently, but Green Lantern grabs the by his neck and demands he reveal the last time he sold ice cream to anybody, jumping into panic mode. Ice Cream Dude begs the hero to quit asking him questions before a certain somebody picks up on them, and when Green Lantern tries to squeeze a name out from the Ice Cream Dude's mouth, the Ice Cream Dude drives away. At the City Mint, Streak points to the floating ship gliding through the city sky illegally, and just as Guardsman tries to shoot an arrow at the ship, Tom Turbine stops him to show him that Barry and Black Siren are strapped to a part of the ship. Guardsman, Tom Turbine, and Martian Manhunter leap into the air to save their friends, but Music Master manages to knock Martian Manhunter down with his modified accordion. Sportsman smacks his golf ball at Tom Turbine, causing Tom Turbine to lose his balance. But luckily for Tom, Guardsman grabs him midair and places him on a roof. Mr. Magician manipulates an iron antenna to pin the two heroes onto the roof and boasts to his criminal friends about his feats. While all this is going down, Batman crashes into a random building, forces his way to the rooftop, and leaps onto the gliding ship. He barges into the ship with a bang, causing Mr. Magician to lose his balance. Batman grabs the fairy dust-filled buffoon and throws him towards his crew. Meanwhile, at the library, Green Lantern discovers that the books are blank props. Hawkgirl suggests they check the archives in the back, but they soon realize it's a ruse, just like the book props pissed over the mind tricks. Hawkgirl breaks down the brick wall posing as the archives, only for them to discover a mucked-up subway station and a newspaper dated 40 years back. Green Lantern immediately clocks that the newspaper date coincides with the last Justice Guild comic. On the other hand, while Batman is whooping the Injustice League's ass in the ship, and Streak is helping his friends on the roof, Barry and Black Siren devise a way to free themselves. Barry uses one of his lightning ears to puncture the ship, sending Batman and the Injustice clowns to lose their balance. Just as Martian Manhunter saves Mr. Magician from becoming pounded beef, Black Siren's ropes loosen, and luckily for her, Barry grabs her before she too becomes pounded beef. Tom Turbine, who is now free, leaps onto the crashing ship to save Barry and Black Siren, leaving Batman to finish up the Injustice League dudes barely clinging to dear lives. Batman throws them out of the ship, and Guardsman floats them out of the place while the ship smashes into the ground. Having submitted the Injustice Guild to the lazy police, the Justice Guild retreats to the headquarters to meet Green Lantern, who reveals that the heroes running the Justice Guild are not the real Justice Guild crew. Confused by Green Lantern's accusation, Ray and Streak ask him what's up, but Green Lantern pulls out the old newspaper and asks them to explain it instead, refusing to admit that the Justice League was killed in battle 40 years ago. Ray, the little blonde scoundrel, insists it's a hoax, but Green Lantern refuses to succumb. He reveals that the real Green Guardsman, Tom Turbine, and the others are all dead, and he had, in fact, been to their graves. While the impersonating Justice Guild swirls the idea of being imposters through their minds, the Guild Help Center phone rings. After learning that a monster is tearing up the main city street from the police, Green Lantern blocks the Justice Guild from leaving the room. He tries to make them understand that nothing in the city makes sense, and Hawkgirl chips in that danger from nowhere conveniently springs up in the city whenever someone gets too close to the truth. To summarize the information that seems to be flying over the Justice Guild's heads, Green Lantern reveals that their world is an illusion. He explains that it is a living memory of a civilization destroyed 40 years ago when the Justice Guild gave their lives for the Earth. He flings the book for the gaping fools to see and adds that their death is the reason they stopped publishing comic books in his world. Partially accepting Green Lantern's claims, Tom Turbine asks him who he thinks is responsible for creating the illusion, and Martian Manhunter cleverly points out that they need to ask Ray, ignoring Ray's confused act. Martian Manhunter grabs him and uses his Martian powers to reveal Ray's true form. Ray curses out Martian Manhunter for ruining his life's work, smacks him out of his sight, and summons a monster to distract the Justice Guild. Despite Green Lantern's warning, the Justice Guild attacks the monsters, and when the Justice League is about to join in, Green Lantern stops them and explains that Ray is who they're meant to face. While the Justice Guild is fighting the summoned monster, Green Lantern tries to talk Ray into surrendering, but Ray refuses. He traps Barry in a sinkhole, slaps Hawkgirl aside, and shields himself from Green Lantern's continuous attacks. Just as Ray crushes Green Lantern to the ground, Martian Manhunter sneaks up on him, but Ray sends him flying. He tosses Hawkgirl aside with the Guild's logo and raises Green Lantern into the air. The Justice Guild realizes the Justice League is in danger, and they all decide to defeat Ray at the expense of their existence. The Justice Guild takes on Ray as a team, causing Ray's brain to go into an overload. The illusion world dissolves into oblivion as a result, and the Justice Guild disappears with it. After Ice Cream Dude and the rest of the citizens thank the Justice League for waking them up from their 40-year-long drug dream, Green Lantern powers Tom Turbine's forgotten portal machine for them to return to Justice League HQ. At HQ, while Barry tells Superman and Batman about their experience, Hawkgirl comforts Green Lantern, who is in his feelings about the fate of the Justice Guild. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.